focus on the 45,000 dock workers threatening to strike across America's ports next week. The strike could cause empty fruit aisles and prices to soar in grocery stores.
And if this goes on long enough, one analyst claims that the strike could potentially cost the U.S. economy over $5 billion.
Listen, it might take much longer for you to get the products you want because next week a potential labor strike at East and Gulf Coast ports could leave ships filled with billions of dollars worth of goods stranded.
Something massive just happened in West Africa, and almost nobody saw it coming. Ghana has taken a decision so bold, so unexpected, that it's shaking global trade from Washington to Beijing, and it's sending a message the whole world can feel. For years, African nations have been forced to pay sky-high U.S.-controlled shipping fees that quietly drained billions from African economies, raised the price of imported goods, and kept the continent dependent on Western routes. Most countries accepted it, most stayed silent, but Ghana didn't. In a shocking move, Ghana just blocked U.S.-imposed shipping fees and unveiled a new African trade route that could save the continent billions of dollars every single year. And now Washington is scrambling to understand how Africa pulled this off and what it means for America's influence on global trade. This isn't just economics. It's power, it's independence, it's Africa refusing to be controlled. Because when Ghana shut the door on U.S. fees, it opened the door to a future where African goods move on African routes, African ports control African trade, and African countries stop paying billions to systems that were never built for their benefit. Today, we dive deep into how Ghana did it, why America is furious, and how this single decision could change the price of food, fuel, and everyday products for millions across Africa. This is the story Washington never wanted Africa to tell, and now the whole world is watching. For decades, Africa has been tied to a global shipping system that it did not design, did not vote for, and did not fully benefit from. A system dominated by Western nations, especially the United States, where African countries often paid some of the highest shipping and logistics fees in the world. These fees quietly drained billions from African economies. They increased the cost of food, fuel, medicine, vehicles, and even basic goods like cooking oil and spare parts. But for years, there was no alternative. African nations relied on routes created by Europe and the United States. Goods coming from Asia were processed through Western-controlled ports. Cargo leaving Africa passed through systems owned by foreign companies. Africans paid fees that never came back to the continent, and for many that was simply the way the world worked until now. Because Ghana, a nation known for its independence, its boldness, and its willingness to challenge global systems, has done something few expected. With one decision, Ghana blocked U.S. shipping fees and launched a new African-centered trade route that analysts say could save the continent billions of dollars every single year. A move that has shaken Washington, a move that has forced the world to rethink Africa's place in global trade, and a move that could mark the beginning of a new era. The story begins at the port of Tema, one of the busiest and most advanced ports in West Africa. For years, Tema was a transit point for goods moving in and out of the continent, but it was heavily tied to Western logistics networks. Shipping lines owned by U.S. and European companies dominated traffic. They set the rules, they controlled the fees, and they knew that Africa had no choice but to pay. But over the past decade, something quietly changed. Ghana expanded and modernized its ports. It invested in scanners, cranes, logistics software, and deepwater terminals. It built capacity not just for Ghana, but for the entire region. And slowly, quietly, the balance of power began to shift. Behind the scenes, African nations started complaining about the excessive costs. Importers in Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and Angola reported logistics expenses far higher than Latin America or Asia. In many cases, goods passing through U.S.-linked routes carried multiple layers of fees that had nothing to do with Africa but everything to do with Western control. Ghana watched all of this, and Ghana decided enough was enough. So when the United States pushed a new shipping fee standard that African nations were expected to adopt a policy that would increase costs for African importers while boosting U.S. revenue, Ghana refused. Not only refused, but publicly blocked the policy. The announcement stunned Western analysts. A U.S. trade representative said the move was unexpected and problematic. Washington began pressing for explanations. Some American companies even warned that Ghana was endangering established global trade framework.